Okay, this is my audition for Grey's Anatomy. And auditioning for Grey's Anatomy, what I would like to do is I would like to be taken on the show as a new character, a new doctor who actually has like all these innovative ideas for treating patients. And my, I think one of the things that's going to set me apart from other actors who are also auditioning for like future roles on Grey's Anatomy is that I'll actually have all the expertise, acumen, training, and skills of a real doctor. Even though I didn't go to medical school, I just educated myself in the field of medicine. And so okay. Anyway, so now I'm gonna go out and get my Grey's Anatomy book, and this would be kind of like a sample of if I was like like a professor at a medical school. This is like this is kind of like my style of delivery to the students. Okay. Let's go to the brain again. Okay. The average weight of the brain in the adult male is 49 and a half ounces or a little more than 3 pounds. Avoirdupois. That of the female, 44 ounces. The average difference between the two being from 5 to 6 ounces. The prevailing weight of the brain in the males ranges between 46 ounces and 53 ounces, and the female between 41 ounces and 47 ounces. The male, in the male, the maximum weight out of 278 cases was 65 ounces, and the minimum weight was 34 ounces. The maximum weight of the adult female brain out of 190 cases was 56 ounces, and the minimum weight was 31 ounces. According to Lushka, the average weight of the man's brain is 1,424 grams, about 45 ounces. Of a woman's 1,272 grams, about 41 ounces. And according to Krauss, 1,570 grams, about 48 and a half ounces, or for the male, and 1,350, about 43 ounces for the female. It appears that the weight of the brain increases rapidly up to the 7th year, more slowly to the between 16 and 20, and still more slowly between the 30 and 40 when it reaches its maximum. Beyond this period, as age advances and the mental faculties decline, the brain diminishes slowly in weight, about 1 ounce for each subsequent decennial period. These results apply to both sexes. The size of the brain was formerly said to bear a general relation to the intellectual capacity of the individual. Cuvier's brain weighed rather more than 64 ounces. That of the late Dr. Abercrombie, 63 ounces, and that of Dupuytren, 62 and a half ounces. On the other hand, the brain of an idiot seldom weighs more than 23 ounces. But these facts are by no means conclusive. It is well known that these weights have been equaled by the brains of persons who never displayed any remarkable intellect. Dr. Helton of Cincinnati has recorded the case of a person with brain 68 and 3/8 ounces. Dr. Ensnor, District Medical Officer of Port Elizabeth, reports that the brain of Carrie, the Irish informant, weighed 61 ounces. M. Nikiforov has published an article on the subject of the weight of the brains in Devasati. According to him, the weight of the brain has no influence whatever on the mental faculties. It ought to be remembered that the significance of the weight of the brain should depend upon the proportionate pairs of the dimension of the whole body and the age of the individual. It is equally important to know what was the cause of death, for long illness or old age exhausts the brain. To define a real degree of development of the brain, it is therefore necessary to have a knowledge of the condition of the whole body, and as this is usually lacking, the mere record of weight possesses little significance. The human brain is heavier than that of all the lower animals, excepting the elephant and whale. The brain of the former weighs from 8 to 10 pounds, and that of a whale, and a specimen 75 feet long weighed rather more than 5 pounds. Cerebral localization and topography. Physiological and pathological research have now gone far enough to prove that the surface of the brain may be mapped out in a series of definite areas, each one of which is intimately connected with some well-defined function. And this is especially true with regard to the convolutions on either side of the fissure of Orlando, which I believe to be by most physiologists of the present day to be concerned in motion. These grouped around the fissure being associated with movements of the extremities of the opposite side of the body, and around the lower end of the fissure being related to movements of the mouth and tongue. This is not the place, nor can the space be given, to describe these localities. But the two accompanying cuts from Fourier have been introduced and will serve to indicate the position of the more important areas. The relations of the principal fissure and convolutions of the cerebrum to the outer surface of the scalp has been the subject of much investigation, and many systems have been devised by which one may localize these parts from an examination of the internal surface of the head. Okay, that was enough of the brain for now. Let me go to another part of the body. I'd like to go to the eye. Okay. Okay, so I have two different insights, two different philosophical observations about the eye, the human eye. Okay. But I would like to preface that by saying that the two most beautiful objects that I've ever seen are Winona Ryder's eyes. Okay. So what I would like to say is what is it that when you see said a woman with beautiful eyes, what is it about the color? What is it about the color? What is it about the eyes? Is it the um, how far apart or how close they are together? Wide set, narrow set eyes? Is it that the eyes are just like the but how do you define what is beautiful? What how do you define beauty? And when you see beauty, how do you define it? Other than you know what it is. You know what beauty is when you see it, but how do you actually define that? The experience of how do you describe the experience the feeling of experiencing beauty when you see it? Just kind of like the way the sensation that you have in your soul when you see something that's beautiful. How can you put that to words? Can it be put to words? And what can you say from these inferences that you draw from these observations of the existence or non-existence of the soul? Does that somehow um, um, shed some light on that debate? Um, because you could probably physically describe just by a pattern of neuronal firings or within the human brain, certain parts of the brain will light up when one person looks at another person and sees beauty, like a man looking at a woman and who's he attracted to. there's like a pattern of neurons that form a certain pattern, and you could describe it that way. You could describe this pattern as being a brain state that somebody has when they're attracted to another person. But can this alone adequately define the experience of seeing beauty? And is it something transcendent that is not just a mere brain state? Okay. So, and another, okay, so that was a, wait a minute, okay, what else did what else, what other observation I want to make with the human eye? Um, that they say that the eyes are the windows of the soul, and eyes can be so expressive, and I don't think you can really just tell exactly what somebody's thinking by looking into their eyes, but you can gauge to some extent their emotions, their emotional state. Their emotional state can actually be um, kind of um, gleaned from looking into their eyes. But why is that? And how is that so? I mean, what is it about what you're seeing when you see somebody's eyes are when there's different emotions, different like different human emotions being expressed by the eyes? What's actually happening physiologically in the eye? How is it possible? Is there something that also in this situation, is there something that's transcendent that can't be put to words? It just can't be described by words. Okay. The eye. The eyeball is contained in the cavity of the orbit. In this situation, it is securely protected from injury, whilst its position is such as to assure the most extensive range of sight. If human evolution actually continues well into the future, like I mean, if we're actually here like 1,000 years from now, if we don't destroy the planet, or if we're smart about like human survival, which it doesn't seem like we are lately, then maybe if we live on to it, like if the human race continues, and if we're alive 1,000 years, right, if the human race continues on for 1,000 years, do you think human evolution will actually also? I mean, what are we going to evolve into like 1,000 years from now? Are we going to have the ability to see in back of us? I mean, will human eyesight evolve to the point where we could see in back of us, or we can see across boundaries of time, like clairvoyance, or see into the past, see into the future? Are we going to evolve to the point where we could read each other's minds? Are we going to be able to uh, telepathically levitate objects, stuff like that? What do you think? And how many eyes are we going to have in the future of human evolution? Is it going to be like, I don't know. We'll find out. Okay. Um, it is acted upon by numerous muscles by which it is capable of being directed to different parts. It is supplied by vessels and nerves, and is additionally protected in the front by several appendages such as the eyebrow and eyelids, etc. The eyeball is embedded in the fat of the orbit, but is surrounded by a thin membrane sac called the capsule tenon, which isolates it so as to allow the free movement. The capsule tenon is a thin membrane, eyeball. Okay, I'm getting hungry. I gotta go eat. Bye. I'll see you soon.